you mean? Who ain't getting that damn food stamps in damn November? Cause I'm getting my damn.
If I see people stealing out the store because y'all turned off food stamps, WIC, all the good resources that people use, whoop-de-doo.
Whatever day that's gonna be, just say, just the day we stealing the stuff is this. Just drop it down there low and let me know. I'll be right there.
I will be at Walmart with my steel toes on and my helmet, and I dare a try to stop me from walking out that store with my groceries.
These people have to feed themselves and their kids. And it's easy for people to say, hey, go get a job. But what about the people that's furloughed?
For the people talking about, oh, go get a job. First of all, not everybody is mentally capable of working a 9 to 5. Not everybody is in the health condition to work a 9 to 5. Not every mother wants to work and raise her kids.
When the food stamps get cut, what do you think gonna happen? When people cannot feed their kids, what do you think gonna happen?
Okay, so let me first start by saying that what we are seeing in those videos is what socialism looks like in the real world, from each according to their ability to each according to their need, which sounds like a good slogan to a lot of people. The question is, who is in need? Are they people who are genuinely in need, or are they people who choose to be in need, who choose not to work? And this to me is why the whole rise of Zohran Mamdani there in New York is quite troubling to me.
Anyway, guys, we're here with the next mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani.
The fact that people are hanging on his every word with chronic amnesia, acting as if socialism is new, forgetting all the atrocities that it caused across the 20th century, and the kind of entitled looter mindset that we see in these videos. Socialism will never work because you essentially have to rewire man in order to make it work. You have to make hardworking people okay with the fact that there are freeloaders among us who won't work, who won't do their so-called fair share, but will get an equal portion of the rations. This is why it's amazing to me that according to a 2019 study conducted by Cato Institute, over 60% of so-called blacks had a favorable view of socialism, and a not insignificant percentage of other ethnicities also had a high view of socialism. This speaks to how susceptible a troubling portion of Americans are to such a nation-ending ideology. And before some of you act on your impulse to blame all of this on the Democrats, let me just remind you this is actually a bipartisan issue. Richard Nixon supported a universal basic income in some of these welfare policies himself. While it is true that Democrat President LBJ intensified the welfare state, Martin Luther King didn't believe that it went far enough, which is why he presided over something called the Poor People's Campaign, which he hoped would go even further than LBJ's war on poverty. Martin Luther King was a huge self-admitted socialist, and it was Ronald Reagan, a Republican president, who signed the bill that made Martin Luther King Day a national holiday. Herbert Walker Bush, Republican, Clinton, Democrat, George W. Bush, Republican, Obama, Democrat, all did things to advance the socialist cause in America.
Sometimes you talk about welfare cuts, and that if you don't vote, somebody's gonna cut your welfare.
And so when I see those videos, none of this is actually surprising to me. And it's also not surprising to me that so-called blacks have a higher view of socialism than any other ethnic group, because for the majority of the 20th century, the civil rights movement, which was socialist, was focused primarily on so-called black people who actually had a better cultural ethos before the civil rights movement.
All right, folks, lot to unpack there. It is day 29 of the 2025 government shutdown, and the Democrats are still playing games while Americans pay the price. I'm KJ. This is Pop and Politics. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett. Nicole is back.
Hey, family.
And Shelly E. Hi. All right. So again, we have a full show for you tonight. Before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. So you guys saw at the top of the show, that was multiple people who are upset about these losing food stamps starting November 1st. Okay. So again, not only that, but we're also going to talk about the liberal stonewalling that's furloughed 750,000 workers, frozen military pay, and again, teetering SNAP and WIC benefits toward a November crash. Trump and the GOP are standing tall against bloated spending. So let's talk about it. I want to start off with you, Nicole, the latest with the shutdown.
Listen, this shutdown is starting to become a day-to-day problem for people who are not federal government employees. Yeah. I know even in healthcare, our Medicaid payments are coming slowly, not because they don't have the money, but they don't have people to process the payments. So it's affecting kind of like a domino effect that's going around. But when we talk about these SNAP benefits and people losing their mind on the internet, my goodness, they're really telling on themselves. Mm-hmm. Are they not? They're going to go out stealing like they've been stealing.
Yeah. Shelly, I mean, are you surprised to hear all these people talk about they're going to start stealing? And do you believe it?
No, I'm not surprised. And yes, I do believe it. Okay. Number one, I'm not surprised is because many of these types of people, they've been stealing even when they had SNAP benefits. Okay. Mm-hmm. So tell me, explain the difference. If you claim to be hungry, but you were stealing before. Number two, these are some of the same, I'm going to say ilk, if you will, in line with the same people who will go through and destroy, what do you call those things? Smash and grabs, things like that. So stealing is sort of in their repertoire. Doesn't surprise me at all. Okay. I do believe they're going to be doing that. And what's going to make matters even worse is that many of the places where they go to steal from, these are, I'm going to say, like community stores we are familiar with, don't get me wrong, but they're going to close out. They're going to put more locks and glasses and plexiglass up. They're going to drive the paying customers away, right? And many of the paying customers, they have transportation to go out to the outskirts, if you will, and shop, or maybe they'll order online, things like that. And to add misery to it, many of these places, I suspect, police are not really that motivated to go in and break up these things. Yeah, right. I mean, look how we treated them in the last few years.
Well, we have some cheaper chatters here, folks. Sound off in the chat. What do you think? All right, Kung Fu CJ says, hello, Pop and Politics family, with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And folks, this is the best way to get your voice heard. So if you have an opinion about all this that's going on, sound off your super chats, and it goes a long way in keeping us online. Also, hit that like button as you come in. That tells YouTube to push this video out, and we appreciate the support. The more likes we get, the more people will see it. So again, as we saw at the top of the show, that was Chad O. Jackson talking about socialism and how it has really infiltrated the fabric of our country. And perhaps, and you guys let us know what you think in the chat, this is the reason why people feel like they're owed something and that they don't need to work. It is the government's responsibility to provide their food, their shelter, their health care. But we have one lady here who's pushing back against that. Take a look. This is clip 3.
You got people all over the internet talking about if they don't get their food stamps next month, how they gonna go into these people's stores and take what they need. Talking all bold, like people owe them something. But I got a question. What makes you think that you entitled to take anything that you ain't worked for? You want another man or woman to get out there, plow the field, break their backs, while you sit back and watch, and you want to eat off their labor? The devil is a lie. That's what you call bold, entitled, warped way of thinking. If you mad at anybody, talk to God about it, because it's in his word. If a man chooses not to work, then he should not eat. God never blesses idleness. He blesses the works of our hands. Not all of these excuses, entitled mindsets coming out of our mouths. You wouldn't let us move into your place, eat your food, use your water, or sleep in your bed without your permission, right? So why would you try to sit up here and justify going into these people's stores that they built with their sweat, hours, and sacrifice? We got to stop glorifying self-inflicted struggles. Get up off your behind and do what they're asking you to do. 20 hours. That's it. You do it with everything else. God feeds the birds. He just expects that the nest be built. So if you got questions, here's the answers. Stop waiting for a handout. Stop moving your mouth. Start moving them hands. Because guess what? If you don't work, it's 9 times out of 10, you're not going to eat.
All right. Folks, Shelly, this used to be not a foreign message. This was something that many people knew and they believed. What's going on now?
What's going on is, again, generations, plural, at least 2, maybe 3 generations have grown up on the idea that they are entitled to whomever else's stuff, that they don't have to do anything. And again, it's partly parents, it's partly the community, if you will, the churches, the religious organizations, and it's certainly a big part of that is the government and how the government subsidizes a lot of things in people's lives. There's a quote, and I'm not quoting it correctly, but something about when the government subsidizes XYZ, number one, you get more of XYZ, which you're trying to get rid of. And number 2, that also reduces the actual organic support that families and maybe churches or other religious institutions would naturally do as part of their mission.
Yeah, Nicole. I mean, she told no lies. I loved everything, agreed with everything she said. What's going on with the country and our community in particular?
You know, one of the things I could say honestly about our community, again, is that we are toddlers on the world stage. We full on expect the government to provide for us. And if you listen to them, the first thing they're going to bring up is slavery. Oh, my great grandmother was a slave, so you should provide housing, healthcare, education, tax breaks, and food for me for the rest of my days.
Crazy.
But you know what's so funny is that the people that they call our ancestors would slap them cold across the face for being a big bum. Would slap them cold across the face. It's crazy to me that no one told them what that great grandmother told them to get to work. We don't expect a handout, not even a hand up. We got it, right? We can build our own communities. We should be able to do that very easily, but it's so much easier and it's become familiar for some families to expect a handout. You hear that in these videos all the time. Well, don't blame me, blame the government. No, I'm blaming you. You're a whole bum. You're a able-bodied bum. If you can make a baby, you can make a check. That should be on a t-shirt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, we do have some super chatters here. I want to acknowledge you all. Thank you so much. Let's see what we have here. All right. We have here simply at Ace with the $5 super chat says Democrats are the party of socialists, Marxists, and borderline communists. Absolutely. Can't agree with you. Can't disagree with you with that. And again, but speaking of these Democrats, they want someone to blame. So again, this furlough, this shutdown, they are continuing to try to place the blame on President Trump. The House GOP has passed clean CRs, but Senate Democrats have blocked them at least 12 times. I think they just blocked another one, maybe brought it to 13.
Yeah.
All right. So this is getting out of hand. Take a look at this next clip here. Let me see here. I'm having some. Oh gosh. This next clip here, I just lost my page. Clip 8. Even Jake Tapper is coming back and saying, look, stop the lies, Democrats. You're the ones causing this shutdown. Take a look. Clip 8.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding
their
tactics.
The White House.
Well,
this is a choice by the White House.
This is also, Congresswoman, this is also a choice by Senate Democrats to not vote to open the government. Yes, it is. I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want Medicaid funds restored. They're doing it because they want Obamacare premiums to be extended past the end of the year. I understand the reasoning.
Sir, let me just be clear. The money for contingency plans is sitting there. That is why the states are suing. The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3 weeks worth of SNAP funds.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not.
Okay, so let's unpack that exchange. Nicole, what is she talking about, these 2 to 3 weeks of SNAP funds?
So it's an emergency fund, right? So if all the wheels come off the bus, because right now the wheels aren't off the bus, we might have a slow leak, possibly one flat. But that money is set aside for emergencies. Every government should have contingency funds just in case there's emergency. Here in Maryland, we call it the rainy day fund. Virginia is actually using some of their surplus to step in the gap where food stamps are going to stop. Governor Youngkin is doing, he calls it VINA. It's Virginia Emergency Food Assistance, Nutritional Assistance. But what she's asking is that we use those funds instead of them getting their butts back to work. I mean, it's astronomically stupid, the argument they're making. It's not even resonating with Democrats anymore. I mean, when you've got Jake Tapper sitting here acting like an actual journalist, pressing the question, there's something wrong with your argument. And she's trying her best to stick to those talking points. She's got to memorize. So when you see her doing this in her mind, she's remembering the talking point so she doesn't mess up.
Yeah. I mean, they're lying, Shelley. Do you think that it's getting through to people? Do you think people are actually seeing through their lives?
I think many people are, yes, because the polls are showing that, at least for the Republicans, this is not hurting them. Okay. In fact, the Republicans, approval ratings have gone up.
Well,
that was
you
on
said
CNN.
that.
Yes.
Take a look. This is that clip here. This is clip 4.
Starting with Republicans, how has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye out on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats, of course.
Wow.
I want to make a statement.
Yes.
Ain't nobody starving in the USA. Ain't nobody starving in the United States of America. I bet you dimes to donuts. On Thanksgiving Day, all these people who are saying they're going to go out or they're having conniptions over this and that, I bet you they will have 3 turkeys. One of them's going to be fried, okay? They're going to have potato salad, macaroni and cheese, baked chicken, pork chops, all kinds of meats, ham, spiral ham. They're going to have green beans, collard greens, sweet potatoes or yams, candy. They're going to have it all. They're going to have a sweet potato pie, homemade pound cake, maybe even a pecan pie, ice cream galore. They're going to have fried chicken. Did I forget fried chicken?
You did.
They're going to have it all. I bet you dimes to donuts. Ain't nobody starving in the United States of America.
Now, so you guys, if you saw our Monday night show, Shelley said that on Monday night, and there were people who were pushing back, who were really upset about her making that comment. And so I want to ask you, Nicole, what do you think about that? Do you agree there ain't nobody starving in America?
Well, I say it like this. There are people who are homeless. There are people who rather spend their resources on other things than food, alcohol, drugs, that kind of thing. But soup kitchens are full. Food banks are full. And in 2 weeks, I'll be standing outside handing out 750 turkeys and all the trimmings and boxes and boxes and boxes of food for people who probably don't need the help. But for that one person who might, right? For that one person who might, it's worth freezing my butt off all morning to feed that one family who might. So I don't disagree with Shelley, because, you know, Americans are fairly well nourished.
Very much.
As compared to the rest of the world. But there are some families where when you take a look at their financial situation, they're not eating the way they want to eat,
Exactly.
right? They have food choices, but it may not be to their liking. Take a look at what happened in New York City with the immigrants that came in. They set up a food kitchen and people could come and have as much food. They complained that the food was not to their cultural liking.
Wow.
So
yeah, you brought up a very good point about the food kitchens. And folks, before we get into this, please, as you all come in, hit that like button. We have almost 300 people watching and we don't have as many likes. Please come on in, hit that like button and subscribe. All right. So I know here in Baltimore City for many years, B. Gaddy, she was a Baltimore City resident and she would feed the homeless and she would hold these large Thanksgiving Day feasts for the homeless. But let me tell you, I personally knew many people who would go down and eat and who were not homeless.
That's the whole point.
I volunteered there before.
Oh, okay.
I have volunteered there before years ago. Yes, people do go there when they're not homeless. They will go there. What is it called? Table hopping.
Yeah,
that's what they do. Right. So they go from house to house to house on Thanksgiving. Again, like I said, notice I'm using the word starving. Okay,
Not hungry.
Not hungry. Starving.
Right.
Because the hungry people, like you said, the missions and the soup kitchens are there. I'm talking about people who are nobody's starving in the United States of America. People will go from home to home to home. They will pack up, aluminum foil plates, all kinds of stuff, and have eaten till their heart's content. And you know how? Another reason I know, Nicole, you know this, because we see those people the week after Thanksgiving.
Oh my God.
We see them and they need
blood
a lot of medical treatment.
Yeah.
So ain't nobody starving.
Yeah. Hypertensive urgency, blood sugars through the roof.
Oh, I never knew that.
You know, when you consume that many calories and you just sit still, your body does not have a chance to process it appropriately. But Shelley has a point. There's a viral meme going around now where you see some teenagers who were going from soup kitchen to soup kitchen. Now they ain't hungry nowhere. They're all walking around with $2 and $3 worth of iPhone in their pocket. And they thought it was funny going to a soup kitchen and eating the food designated for hungry people and homeless people. But they thought it was a joke. They did it all over New York City.
Oh, I know people who every year they will go to these certain shelters or the places that are giving away free turkeys. They are homeowners. Some of them have big homes. They're working, and they say, "Don't forget to go get your turkey. Don't forget to get your." So again, you're bringing up a good point. Now, again, this may not be happening in all areas. Our heart, our prayers go out to people who are really struggling. And I personally know, I think there are going to be people struggling.
Of course.
But again, there are people who game the system. And this is what President Trump and his administration have been trying to put a handle on. These people that have been gaming the system. And guess what, folks? It's not just Americans.
Right.
Yep. A lot of these social services go to illegals and legal immigrants.
Right.
And that takes me to this next part here. Here's a clip of an Iraqi refugee saying he will have to leave if his SNAP benefits are cut. This is clip 5.
Without the government support, I cannot stay maybe a month or 2 months.
Pima County Chairman Rex Scott told News for Tucson he's deeply concerned about the impact on local refugees. And
I mean, what is this?
They should give him a bunch of bacon.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? He should get a bucket of chitlins, some hog maws.
And he'll kill you dead.
Right.
He'll kill you dead.
Let me tell you, to spit in the face of the person who's feeding you is ridiculous. I mean, I will tell you, when we're out there in the morning handing out these turkeys and all this stuff, for our annual giveaway, it burns my butt to see G-Wagon after G-Wagon, Jaguars and Range Rovers pull up. And we don't, we don't judge.
Right.
They pop the trunk. They pop the trunk. They got 4 other boxes from all the other places
that they've gone to.
But you know what? Again, my thought process is always not smack them in the back of the head with the frozen turkey. However,
stuff it with pork. Stuff it with pork.
It may be one person that really needs it that makes the whole thing worthwhile.
Well, first of all, why is he here if he can't support himself?
He's a refugee.
I don't give a darn. He can't go without government assistance. Okay, pack him up, make sure he's secure, and send him back maybe to somewhere safe. Whatever. I mean, why?
Iraq.
I don't care. Okay, there's other countries in the world, but the point is that you're here. Then where's his job? Where are his skills? Why is he not looking for a job? He can't survive without the gun. Enough is enough. I'm going to say it until the cows come home. I am tired of paying for everybody else's stuff. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I don't care if you are here legally. If you cannot support yourself, then your expectation should not be to come here and that the American taxpayer is feeling guilty, made to feel guilty for supporting you or not. No. Find a job, hobnob, whatever with somebody else, hustle, barter, whatever you have to do to take care of yourself. I get it. There are some people, it should be very few, okay, who have an absolute need. I get that. There's a place and there are resources. There should be resources for that. But it's too many. And y'all know it. It's too many of us. And I'm saying collectively, it's too many of us receiving the handouts and really believing that, we are entitled to them. And no, we're not. It's too much. Enough is enough. Give me back my money.
He's probably here on temporary protected status, right? So when they come with TPS, it's supposed to be for a short amount of time. Right. But what happened is during the Biden administration, they extended the time. So maybe 10 shows ago, I read you the list. Syria's over in December. I am waiting with bated breath for these people to be sent back to their home countries, because what happens is they come from these countries that, for lack of a better word, are third world, not really well put together. They come here and they get very accustomed to the American way of life, like this gentleman who's distraught because the American public is not giving him the food that he'd like to have, right? So what happens when they go back to the country that they left? What happens when they go back? Well, the thing is, they don't want to go back. Then, they make up all of these, people are after me, they're trying to kill my mother and all this other stuff, all these reasons to try to stay, because there's nothing, where they came from is nothing like what we have. And they get too familiar. Shelley's right. They get so caught up in how good the American people have treated them, sending them back home is like a death sentence.
I don't want to get up and go to work every damn day and to have many of my taxes taken out to pay for these lazy asses. I don't want to do that. Well, we got to get up and do that, right? And then I don't have a choice about, only take this amount of taxes out and then let me decide which ministry or support I want to give it to. No, I don't have that choice. My money is taken. Hell, before I even get my damn check, I didn't work 40, 50 hours and only bringing home half, thinking I'm going to make overtime. Enough is enough. I don't give a damn. You're not starving. Go knock on your neighbor's doors or whatever. I don't care if you have turkey or not. Eat, what is it called? Fur turkey? The fake one? Whatever it's called. I don't care. You're not starving. I bet you that damn deep freezer is full right now. You could probably eat for the next, at least until the end of the year, off what's in your deep freezer.
And they don't want to defrost it. They want something fresh and new, the American tradition.
Yeah. I mean, folks, we've said this time and time again on here. We're dealing with spiritual warfare here. This is what we're seeing right now is gluttony. We're seeing greed and we're seeing sloth. Okay. And it has really taken over this country, this era right now. But we know that the Bible talks about this, folks. We are going to come upon a time when sin is going to be more prevalent in this world than anything else. And so this is why we got to continue to push back against it. We got to get in our Bibles. We have to continue to witness to everyone and really call it out. And that's what we're doing on here. Folks, as you come in, please hit that like button and subscribe. If you hearing things that resonate with you, if you're saying this makes sense, you found your community here.
Absolutely.
You found your community. We are America First. We are God-fearing, truth-seeking America First people, and we value freedom. And we understand that this goes beyond politics. It goes beyond culture. It's spiritual. And this is what we're dealing with. All right. So speaking of faith, we got to talk about the Seed and Roots Summit. We were there this weekend, and I am so excited about today's guest, Kathy Barnett. She's the force behind the Seed and Roots Summit. Faith, family, and the future of work in America. Isn't that, it rings a bell, right? What we're talking about. So honestly, this was one of the best conferences I've been to in a long time. Kathy is a veteran, a bold conservative voice, and a dynamic speaker. She has a book out as well that we have here with us. And she's here to talk about the heart behind the summit and how its message can impact our families, our faith, and our future. All right, we have her with us here. Bring Kathy on. All right. How are you tonight?
I am well. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hey, Kathy. How are you?
Hi,
Doing
Kathy.
well.
I'm getting mic'd up. Yes, we are doing well. Excited to have you with us tonight. You came in on a real spirited part.
I loved it. I loved it. I'm like the amen choir. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I know. I did a show earlier today, and I was talking about the same thing. I am tired of constantly talking about poor people, poor. What about the middle class? No one talks about the middle class. When was the last time any of you heard anyone mention the middle class? We're either talking about the 1% or we're talking about these poor people. But when you look at what just came out, 42 million people, they say, are in danger of not receiving their food stamps. And then people just kind of do a hard stop there. But I'm thinking 42 million, that's 1 out of every 8th person you see walking around the street. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Every 8th person in this country is getting food stamps. When you look at it from a state by state, many states, their population, roughly 20% of their population, is receiving food stamps. I'm like, that's not temporary emergency. That sounds more like a lifestyle. This is their lifestyle. And that's a problem because I'm tired of having that on my back. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And you know, that's some of those, you all spoke about some of these things at the Seed and Roots Summit. And so I want to get into this, Kathy, in a culture that's trying to tear down faith, redefine family, and control how we live and work. Your summit was the opposite. It was a call to rebuild. So what was your biggest goal in launching it? And how do you see it shaping the next chapter in the conservative movement?
Yeah. The latter part first. Hopefully this conversation causes us to start having more substantive and real conversations on our side of the political aisle versus all of the rage baiting, chasing after algorithms. But because we have to start having real conversations. Zohran Mamdani is more of a he's more of a response to the problems that Americans have been facing for decades now. And those on the Republican side as well as the Democrat side have just ignored the people at all of our peril. And so New York, this Mamdani, I think we're going to see a lot more of these little quote unquote Mamdanis popping up all across our nation, because unfortunately we have seen all across the world, people will trade in freedom for bread. And that is exactly what the people are about to do in New York if the polls mean anything. Now, the reason why I called this summit Seed and Roots, Faith, Family, and the Future of Work, because as I said at the summit, faith, family, work, those are the building blocks to any community that is happy, that is healthy, that is thriving, that is raising up a strong, character-focused next generation. And they were the tools that I used to get off a pig farm in Southern Alabama. I grew up very, very poor, very impoverished. I was below the bottom rung of the economic ladder. I grew up in a home with no insulation, no running water, outhouse in the back, well on the side. I mean, we were poor. If we wanted beans, peas, or potatoes, we had to go grow them in the garden. We didn't have, I mean, I was a child, so I don't know what kind of government assistance my family received, but we had a garden. And I remember working in that garden with my grandmother. And so those are the building blocks that I used in order to climb my way out of dire poverty and to create a different version of my life. And we need to get back to that because we've severed our survival from work, from family. You get to just make it up as you go. You get to redefine it. It doesn't even mean what most people think it means any longer. And faith. We're all walking through and looking at the world through a particular lens. I don't care if you say you're an atheist. That is a faith. I mean, look at this transgender, the LGBT, I call them the alphabet mafia. They, like this is a religion to these people. And so we're all walking through it. And I wanted to put a big, beautiful spotlight on it and have a great conversation. And I think we did that.
Yes, indeed. Well, thanks, Kathy. Good to see you again. And you look great. Are you tired? Are you still recovering or?
I thought I would crash, but I have been. This morning, I woke up at 2:45 in the morning, yes.
Okay. Well, along the lines with KJ's question, I'm going to ask you a slightly opposite.
Okay.
What was one of the aha moments or a huge moment during the summit that you think would kind of grasp the audience and had their attention? Maybe they had never heard this. It was something new to them, but that moment that kind of stands out in your mind, just to give the audience a feel for the summit.
Yeah, there were so many. I think one of my happier moments. I was happy all the way through. It was so amazing to see a vision, cultivate a vision, and then to see it come to fruition. But one of my happiest moments, I don't know if you ladies saw this, is I had a SEPTA representative at the event. SEPTA stands for the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority. So they came, with a table handing out literature, and she just so happened to come inside the summit versus sitting outside at her table waiting for the breaks and people to come up to her. And she sat in and she just started listening to the conversation. And at that time, I think we were discussing the politics of respectability. And I don't think most Black people even have heard of the politics of respectability, but it was the original resistance, right? So today we have protests and petition drives and all of these different things that we use, tools that we use to get our message in front of the people. But for those coming out of slavery and moving through Jim Crow laws and segregation and everything in between, the original form of resistance was respectability, respecting yourself first, demanding respect of yourself, and then walking out in a way that will cause people to respect you, to see you with respect, not see you as animals, which is what many in our country during that time saw Black people as assets, cattle. And so the politics of respectability was very important. So we had a very vibrant conversation about it. Once it was done, I was told to go to the table and speak with her, and she started crying and she said, "Oh my goodness, I've been voting Democrat because I'm Black and I think it's just what I'm supposed to do, but I think I'm a Republican." And then she came to the front of the room and said it in front of everyone. And that was a very, explosive kind of moment of people expressing exhilaration over. We have to keep the conversation going. We cannot stop talking just because these people are demented and deluded and have a strong sense of a reprobate mind right now. We have to keep the conversation going. So it was very encouraging to see that.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, Kathy, I have almost finished your book.
What?
almost to the end, and it is absolutely wonderful. So just a couple of things. One of the big aha moments for me at the conference was the point where I think it may have been you who said this about taking ownership of ourselves, our homes, and our community. That set me on fire to read the book. I'm almost done, but one of my favorite parts of the book thus far is when you talk about your hope for the Black community and objective truth. You know, you talk about gravity. People, you can't touch it. You don't know that it's technically a touchable thing. But if you jump off of a roof, you will very quickly discover that the law of gravity actually is a thing. Wow. So then you go on to talk about the 4 horsemen. And I love that mirror imaging of, as a Christian person, hearing the 4 horsemen and what that means for our Black community when you're talking about tolerance, relativity, political correctness, and inclusivity, and the effect those things have had on the Black community, I thought was tremendous. Can you expand upon it?
Wow.
I know. I'm a fan.
Thank you. You know, you come forth, you put out a vision, and it really is encouraging to see people kind of pick that vision up and kind of see what it is that you're talking about. So you just really bless my heart. Thank you so much. Let's go back to what I was just saying, the politics of respectability. White people assisted Black people in becoming free with the Emancipation Proclamation. But we had freedom, but we did not have equality, right? Because you have segregation, you have Jim Crow laws, you have redlining, a whole host of other different things. And quite frankly, white people were not interested in Black people, right? You're free. Go on, live your best life, right? And I think that was the best thing for Black people, is that white people weren't trying to help us. It wasn't until white people started helping us that you begin to see a severing in our community. But prior to white people having white guilt, right around, you know, coming out of World War II, Lyndon B. Johnson and all of that, and deciding, oh, now I want to help Black people were thriving. We were helping ourselves.
Absolutely.
We were, I mean, when you look at the number, these aren't my opinions. And if you read my book, go to the back. I mean, I have like, I don't know, 100 pages of just citations alone, because I deal in the world of facts, right?
Absolutely.
Not just your emotions. That's the problem with people. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone thinks their opinion is equal to everyone else's opinion. It's not. Some opinions are more informed than other opinions. And so this is not my feeling that Black people were thriving before white people decided to help us. But but it is a factual thing. The number of Black people who were getting married outpaced the number of white people who were getting married. When you look at the single parent, female-led household, it was like 3%. Back in the 1950s and 40s. Today, it's the inverse. It's 70, it's 80%. It just absolutely makes no sense. The number of Black doctors and lawyers and accountants and engineers, it was like 300, 200% growth every single year. One that really stands out to me, because the majority of our wealth is in our home, or in the ownership of a home. And prior to Lyndon B. Johnson helping us with the Great Society plan, is that the number of Black people who own their own home was at 42.1%. Today, guess what that is? 42.2. We haven't moved much.
We haven't moved. No.
And when you look at the number of lawyers and doctors, you see it's like 1%. So we go from 300% before white people decided to help us, and we became victims. Because when someone wants to save you, they become your savior. And just like Jesus Christ is my savior, I am called to conform, to look more like Christ, and to adopt his opinions of who I am. The same way, when Democrats decided to be Black people's savior, now we're required to conform into the image of our savior, and to adopt their opinion of us. And they say you're a victim. They say you cannot achieve anything unless we help you. They say, that, hey, black girl magic, black girl power, right? Which a strong black woman, which really means a black woman with multiple babies by multiple baby daddies and doing it all by herself. I'm sorry, that's not magical in a good sense, and that is not powerful. That is broke, that is broken, and that is bruised, and I want no part of it. And this is me growing up looking at this in dire poverty and beginning to recognize that there weren't a whole lot of men in the households, but there were a lot of quote unquote strong black women, but they were exhausted because it's exhausting trying to be strong all by yourself, and we're not called to do that. And so so that's why I started the conference out with talking about the politics of respectability. I loved one of the quotes from the I was reading this book, looking at the numbers and the history from 1890 to 1920, and this movement of Black Baptist women, and they would go door to door when Black people would migrate off the slave plantations or Jim Crow law up north. And when they got up north, these Black Baptist women would go door to door with a basket of soap, and they would tell them, fight racism with protest, but fight it with a bar of soap too. Fight it with a comb, fight it with appropriate clothing, fight it with a job, fight it with being at home with your family, right? And create a sense of we are respectable, make slavery and segregation unthinkable, because we're humans and we know how to behave and we're conforming to something that is good. And that is where I think people need to get back to and get off this whole victimhood.
Wow. Yeah. And I love how you can clearly see that you are a woman of God, and you talk a lot about faith. And so I want to talk, you mentioned Zoran Mondami. Now, he talks a lot about justice and equality. Well, he says equity, but it often comes at the expense of biblical truth and traditional values. So how can the church and faith-based movements stand firm and offer a real alternative that's rooted in God's design?
I liked what you said when right before you brought me on, and that is we individually have to get back into our word and to begin to spend time with Christ, right? One of the things, I'm a very A-type personality. I will take that hill all by myself if I need to, right? But that's not what we're called to do. And so something that you said, it really resonated with me, it's a confirmation of what God has already laid on my heart this entire year. I've just been hearing the word of go deeper, get deeper. It is time to throw off all of this superficiality and just really go deep within the Lord and within community, not deep just in the word, but getting out, meeting other people, fellow believers, and beginning to create a stronger community, and like iron sharpening iron with one another. And so I think that it starts there. And I know, the juxtaposed position is that I just, give me the top 10 things I need to do, and I'll go do it in my own strength. But the word of God is very clear. I believe it's in Zechariah chapter 4, where he says, not by power nor by might, but by my spirit, right? And so there's a war that we are engaged in, but it starts in every person's individual heart. It starts in my heart first, of seeking God's voice to know that this is the plan that he has for me. This is the purpose that he has for me, so that I can walk faithfully in that purpose. And it is, quite frankly, God's responsibility to empower me, to open up the proper doors for me to walk into. And when I arrive at that door to be open for me to walk through. And so I think it starts with the individual.
Right. All right. Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please share with the audience any events you may have coming up. Where can people find you? How can people support you?
Yes, ladies, I start this Saturday. I am going national on Salem Radio Network.
Wow. Yes.
So excited. Thank you, Lord, for another open door of opportunity. So that starts this Saturday. So you can catch me. You can go in Salem, look me up. I'll be right there talking and trying to raise up the bar of truth. You can also find me at Kathy for Truth on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you go get your information. Look me up, Kathy #4 Truth.
Great.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you so much. And you guys get the book. The name of the book is Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain. It is a great read. You won't be able to put it down.
Wow. Thank you, ladies.
We should do that. That should be our second book club. We
That
should do
should
this
be
as
our
our second book club.
Hey, I will come back. Let's talk about it.
All right.
I got mine's already dog-eared. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
All right.
Blessings.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Excellent. Wow. She says so many things that were sort of confirmational for me. Oh my gosh. Such a powerful woman of God. And she's doing excellent work in the community and for America, folks. So please check her out on Salem Radio. Go to her website. Get the book.
Get the book.
Yes, indeed. All right. So we are going to keep this train going. We have some super chatters here. Thank you all so much. Let's see here. All right. Bobby with the $10 super chat, super sticker. Thank you. All right. And we have here Nishimini. Thank you with the $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. All right, folks, as you all come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe. If you are God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving person, you are right. You're right where you belong. So hit that like button and subscribe. All right, so we're going to keep talking here. We were just talking about faith, about the Christian faith. And this takes us to what's going on in the UK. So, President Trump has he's completed a lot of campaign promises, but one of them he has completed was to really crack down on illegal immigration. We saw under the Biden administration, they let in an astronomical amount of illegals into this, right? Millions of people illegally in this country. And we've seen the negative impacts of that. Well, across the pond in the UK, they are really seeing the negative impacts of illegal immigration and open borders. And that brings us to this horrific story out of West London that's sending shockwaves through the UK, and should serve as a warning to us here in America. So a kind-hearted man named Wayne Broadhurst, known in his community as a gentle and peaceful dog walker, was brutally stabbed to death after stepping in to help break up a fight. 2 others, including a teenage boy, were injured. The suspect, a 22-year-old Afghan national, who snuck into the UK in the back of a lorry and was later granted asylum in 2022. Authorities say he wasn't living in government housing, but the damage is really, it's already done. So again, this is what happens when leaders put our open borders and compassion without accountability above the safety of their citizens. I want you all to watch this next clip. This is a London woman in tears, and she called in to a radio station to sound off on this unchecked illegal immigration. This is clip 6.
Oh, I live in the borough right next to Hillingdon.
Yep.
And I moved into my house in 2019. My local shop, there's been 3 stabbings, 1 murder since then.
Wow.
My friend was murdered last year up on the high street. Girl I know was murdered in Southall Park. The government are failing us. I'm so scared for my children. I have a 22-year-old son, and I'm begging him to move out of the country.
Oh my goodness, I feel for you.
What are these politicians doing to us? They're putting our children in so much danger. They're putting everyone in danger, and they're not doing nothing to help us.
And that's the thing a lot of us feel. How many is too many?
They're pushing us to do something that we don't want to do. We are peaceful people. British people never vote against their government.
Yeah.
They're going to push us to it because they're not listening to us. Our friends, our family are dying. I had a cousin murdered 20 years ago who was stabbed to death, and nothing's changed, Julia.
I'm so sorry, Sarah. I'm sure I speak for everyone listening and watching right now. My heart goes out to you, and that's the reality.
I don't leave the house without a man.
You're that worried.
Well, everyone I know is getting stabbed. They're getting raped in parks. This is where I live, not where the politicians live.
Do you think that's part of the issue, that they don't live in the real world?
Keir Starmer, if you're listening to this, please do something. I'm petrified. I've never broken the law in my life. I've been a law-abiding citizen. I've been a civil servant. Please do something. It's us that are dying on the streets. You talk about being racist. We're not racist. My sister's mixed race. Yeah. I was a white child brought up in a mixed race family. Yeah. Nothing to do with race.
Exactly.
To do with our safety.
Sarah, I mean, 100%. We agree with you every single word, and I'm so sorry. I'm sending you a big hug over the ether, and I'm sure everyone else is.
Wow, folks, that woman, she was calling out of desperation. Mm-hmm. And the thing that really is upsetting, and I'm a Black woman, is when white people like her or people from European descent speak out about this Arab Muslim invasion in the UK, they're called racist. Mm-hmm. But she said, you heard it, she's not being racist. She's calling it out for what it is. Shelly, do you think this can happen here?
Excuse me, it has happened.
It's happening now.
It has happened, and it is continuing to happen. We've had Americans who have been slaughtered by illegal immigrants, too many to count. One is more than enough, but we certainly have had it. It has happened, and it will continue to happen. One of the things that the lady, I think her name is Sarah, the caller, said that, British people, we don't speak out against our government. Well, you all better start doing it. See, this is why we left Britain, okay? This is why we left Britain, so that we were not given honor, if you will, or we were not beholden to the king anymore. And we made that clear in our Declaration of Independence, okay? So no, you need to start speaking out. And granted, we still have more work to do here because the government, these people in the office, they don't give a damn. They want to change American culture. They want to change British culture. Why? Because these people, illegals, keep them in office. They give them justification to tell us, oh, see, you need us to stay. We're going to keep the problem, or we're going to work on the problem and try to get it fixed. But it doesn't happen. It gets worse. As we saw under the Biden administration, millions of illegals were allowed to come here. And now we're trying to get rid of them. We need to get rid of them. We need to continue speaking out. Sarah, my heart goes to you and many other Britons, but you better start speaking up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nicole, I mean, the UK's asylum system under Labour and the Conservatives have been a revolving door. Thousands arriving illegally, claiming asylum, yes, and disappear into the system. And particularly, these radical Islamists are taking over.
Yeah, it's the same thing that's happening here. We showed the clip maybe a month ago of the mayor of Dearborn telling the Christian pastor that he needed to go away and he would throw a parade when he left. Well, what we should show is, I think it was yesterday before, a bunch of young people from Dearborn showed up at their last meeting. And let me tell you, let him have it. It was like, oh, no, you can't have our town. I'm a Christian person. I have just as much right to be here as you do. And that's what needs to happen in Britain. I know you guys are famous for the stiff upper lip and, taking it on the chin. But at some point, when they're raping your mothers and your daughters, something has to change. Something has to change. You guys aren't, I don't want to say a violent people, because they're not. They're very, very polite and probably overly polite in this situation. But when it starts to affect the people who give life to your country, there's a problem.
In other words, damn tradition.
Yes.
Okay, damn the monarchy.
That's what
damn
they're
looking
traditionalists.
like, I want to be seen as such. Damn it. Your family members, your friends, your community members are being stabbed, brutally murdered, raped, like you said. Damn all of that. Take off the clothes. The emperor is naked. The emperor is ass out. Be an emperor.
Well, hold on. The emperor is Islamic. So let's do that. So one, you're going to have to start voting correctly. And it is okay to be racist. It is okay to be politically incorrect. It is okay to be anti quote unquote inclusivity. It is absolutely okay. When I tell you guys to go get this book written by a Black Republican conservative woman, a Christian woman, who tells you these are the 4 horsemen. This is what's impacting our community. When we stop thinking good common sense and saying, well, I can't say that because it's going to go against the political correctness. And I can't say that because it's anti-inclusivity. Do you know what? Fuck that. I hate to say it, but fuck that. Save your nation. Save your mother, your grandmother. Save what you have to save in order to push your country forward.
Particularly when they're telling us that who they are.
Absolutely.
Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 7.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do we have that clip? Clip 7.
The dream of every Muslim is simply to be treated the same as any other New Yorker. And yet for too long, we have been told to ask for less than that.
This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home.
The dream of every Muslim is simply to be treated the same as any other New Yorker.
America will be a Muslim country. Russia will be a Muslim country. Islam will enter every house. We have to be a part of that change.
The dream of every Muslim is simply to be treated the same as any other New Yorker.
The Prophet says, the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they accept it, leave them. Khalas, they're Muslims, we go. If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation. If they refuse, then we have to fight. And if we fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take where, because you refuse, I give you 2 good options.
The dream of every Muslim is simply to be treated the same as any other New Yorker.
But for the European white people complaining about immigration and Islam, first of all, I want to tell you that Islam is going to take over every single square inch of the globe.
Wow. It sounds and looks to me like they're not asking, they're telling you.
Oh, yeah. And they're showing you what they're working with while we're sitting around going, well, I don't want to be impolite. And I don't want them to feel like, we don't love their religion. They were all over the talkies on Sunday morning. You saw Democrat after Democrat after Democrat making excuses for Mandami's poor ass behavior. Every single one of them in lockstep saying, well, that's not what he really meant. And he really didn't say it that way. Let me tell you, you better go get measured for curtains in New York City. I'm telling you now, you won't be anything but eyelashes fooling around with this guy. And he is going to break the back of the city. The only thing that will save New York City is getting Elise Stefanik elected governor. That would be the only thing that's going to save you. But listen, folks, hear me very clearly. You get the government you elect. I say that as a Marylander who's paying out the wazoo for every single thing because they voted for a Black man because he walks with a pimp and he's shiny.
And his ass is big.
Well, that's Shelley's take on his ass.
I don't know if it's big, but it's high.
Yeah, maybe that's what the word. But I wanted to say something about this clip. So I was thinking about this today, and I said, okay, let me think about it from the what's his name? I can never say that man's name. Mandami's side, right? Okay, so some of these people on his side would probably say, oh, you all are just showing an extreme version. You're showing extreme. I'm just saying this is probably what they would say. That's not fair. That's not whatever. But then I thought, why is he comparing Islam to New Yorkers? He's already setting it up as if Islam is an outsider and trying to get in. But why not compare New Yorkers to, let's say, Los Angelinos or Marylanders or Baltimoreans? Because those New Yorkers are New York is a city, right? And the people are New Yorkers. Islam, where did this come from? He's already making this almost this this antagonizing Islam.
Well, he did the same thing in the
right, but people are going to fall for that. That's the part I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's making it as Islam is the religion or the people who are trying to get in and be normalized. But this is not. Then he's not even comparing the same things. Okay, and we know, many of us do know, that Islam. People keep saying these are extreme versions. Yes, I might know a Muslim or two, in my real life, so to speak. You might know, and they seem to be normal, nice people. But he's positioning this as anti-American from the start, which is he's responding to it to make it seem like it's not anti-American. That's what he's doing.
And we have talked about this extensively on Christian Conservative. We're going to be talking about it again tomorrow, folks. Check me out on Christian Conservative tomorrow. But we have talked about how it says it in the Quran. It says it that if you have to, if you're not Muslim, then you're sort of an enemy. Right. That's basically what it says. Yeah, you are. And then it also exactly. And it also talks about how this is the way. It's not an offer. It's you better do it. They're not asking you, they're telling you. And so I thought the same thing, because I know many people who practice Islam and are peaceful and nice people. Well, as Pastor Damon said, and also as Patrick said on our show a couple weeks ago, they're not Muslims. They're not practicing Islam. That's what he said. They're not practicing Islam as it's put in the Quran. Okay. It is an aggressive, violent religion. All right. And as much as we see people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson going off on Israel, we serve and pray to the same God. We're not the God of Islam is not the God of Abraham. It's not the God of Isaac, and it's not the God that we as Christians read about in the Bible. Absolutely. Okay. So
and listen, I hear this term being thrown around a lot lately is, Americans are Islamophobic. Let me say this now. Let me be very clear, be crystal clear with you. Americans aren't afraid of anything. Make no mistake, like any other scourge that has happened to this nation, we will stamp them out. Make no mistake. They've picked the wrong one. They better stay over on the other side of the pond.
Yeah. Well, our hearts and our prayers go out to people that are being affected by this terrible stuff going on in the UK. But again, we're not standing for it, at least while President Trump is in office. Tom Homan was just on the news today. And so he says the United States is on track to deport 600,000 people by the end of the year. He also said that he's delivering on Trump's promise of deporting millions of illegal aliens. He said it in a Fox News interview today. He said he's expecting to reach that by January 20th, 2026. He says, and I quote, "As we get more agents on, you will see arrests 2 times, 3 times an increase." So he says, you're going to see the numbers skyrocket. We're going to hit 600,000 real soon, which will be our historic record. And we're going to keep going.
Absolutely.
So for all these mayors, these progressive leftist mayors and leaders in the Democrat Party who are trying to stop it, you are on the wrong side. And there's still, and this birthright citizenship is making its way through the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's on the docket. And let me tell you, that's going to be a game changer. Yes. But what's going to help tremendously is that, the administration is not going to continue to extend this temporary protected status. So this means the Syrians go home. This means the Ethiopians go home, sending them back to their home nations. Again, if they're so great and they're so capable, let them go back and build their nations. Let's make the world great again.
Yeah, folks. As you all come in, please hit that like button and subscribe. We want this video to get into front of as many people as possible. And as you hit the like button, that helps to do that for us. We have a goal to hit 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We can only do it with your help. Also, if you haven't gotten enough of us, of content like this, check out our other platforms, our other shows. We have Just the Guys podcast. You can check them out on Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. That you can get a conservative viewpoint from all male panel. Then yesterday we had the All American Talk Show. They are strictly a news program. You get the news, daily news on there. They are on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right there at All American Talk. Definitely check them out. Yesterday they had a panel of Latino people, Latino Americans, and they are still fired up for President Trump. All right. And then, as I mentioned, tomorrow at 9 p.m., you can catch me on Christian Conservative. That is at KJ Christian Conservative, where I give you a biblical point of view on the news and culture. All right. So speaking of culture, we got to talk about this viral video going around about Michelle Obama. Okay. So now, as if, they always try to racialize everything. Now she's racializing hair. Oh my gosh. Take a look at this. This is clip 1.
Hair as women of color, that the way our hair naturally grows out of our head, it's beautiful. But if we struggle to make it look like the standard, that means we are spending thousands of hours and lots of money straightening out what is naturally curly hair, right? And that takes time out of your life. It costs money.
All right. Shelly,
she wears my
what she
sweater.
did? Isn't her hair straight?
Right.
I mean, that's not how her
she's
hair.
saying she's doing that, and Black women have to do that because of the standard of beauty is white.
I'm sorry. I like my locks. My hair is natural. Okay, I don't have pieces or anything, and I'm not knocking you if you do. That's fine. Whatever. Do you, as they say. But first of all, I don't understand. She's a first lady and educated
First
woman.
lady of pity. It's
right.
a pity party.
Everything is so negative and downtrodden and melancholy. She would make me want to get a pack of razor blades, and y'all know what that, just want to do that. I mean, oh my gosh. First of all, now I will say this. Y'all might get upset with me, but I think it was the Harvard Business Review in 2023. Mm-hmm. They did some studies, some surveys, research, whatever. And in some arenas or some industries, Black women and their hairstyles are considered, unprofessional, out of the, whatever the case may be. So maybe it's what I didn't see that whole clip. I don't even know what show that was from because I wanted to watch the whole clip. And historically, Black women in general, but to some degree, I'm gonna keep it narrow. In some arenas, you couldn't wear certain hairstyles, things like that. And maybe thanks to entertainment, Hollywood, whatever, many Black women, I guess, they want their hair to look a certain way. Wear whatever you want. This is America. If you want to wear straight, curly, pickaninnies, whatever, wear them. This is America. It may not work well depending on what your profession is or how you have to present in certain arenas. That may be true, but I mean, I don't find it to be this big of a deal.
Well, unkept is unkept, whether your hair is straight, whether it's curly, whether it's braided, whether it's locked. If it's unkept, it looks a mess. Right. Okay. And so historically, many times dreadlocks like I have, like Shelly have been kept unkept. People don't wash them. Right. They don't
retwist them. Yeah.
Right. They don't look, it's unprofessional. So this is how they got a bad name. Same thing for braids and things. Mm-hmm. But what she's doing is beyond, but I'm going to get your take on it, Nicole.
So my hair is natural, right? Hey. So you guys see me sometimes with the wavy curly thing. Mm-hmm. That's because I refuse to plug up the blow dryer some mornings. I'm running a little late. And sometimes you see me with this time-o blowout. I mean, it does the thing. Here's the thing. Michelle Obama hasn't done her own hair in probably 10 years. Let's just call out what that is. But more importantly, hair per profession does not, equate blackness or whiteness. There are white people whose hair is unkempt. There are Black people, Asian people. Listen, when you're in certain career paths, you have to look a certain way. As a C-suite employee, I have to look a certain way. As much as I would like to go into work with the curly pineapple on top of my head and no makeup and maybe a t-shirt and some shorts. No. the expectation is that you show up a certain way. And over time, I think that line has moved a lot, you know, because there was a time where dreadlocks were unprofessional and I could not wear my wavy curly hair to work. You had to be straight, but we've come beyond that. My problem with Michelle Obama and people like her is they're always trying to pull us back. They're trying to drag us back into a time where that was an issue. She reminds me of Eeyore.
Right, that's what I said.
Like she's always like, I mean, like, what the hell's bells?
Yeah.
You belong to one of the most exclusive clubs the globe has ever known. You're a former First Lady of the United States. You have a podcast nobody watches, but they let you keep making it. And you haven't touched your own head, probably just to scratch it, in at least a decade. Girl, stop complaining. What do you have to complain for?
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Whose fault is it? It's people like her and Oprah. You can't catch them without perm in their hair.
Thank you.
So if you want people to start wearing their natural hair, then you, as someone out in the forefront, as you have your own podcast, you were in the White House for many years, you're on TV, show us it. And that makes it relevant. That makes it okay. Look at us. We're not perm. We're all natural. We're on here every week. You know, not to say if you're not natural is an issue.
It's your business.
Right. If you want to see women, Black women, wearing more natural hair, then start showing it. That's one thing I do give Alicia Keys. You know, she had an issue with women always wearing so much more makeup and having to do that. So she started wearing a natural face. And it did take a little bit. It did start to take notice, and people started doing that. But this is what I'm talking about. Instead of looking within, she turns and blames everything on race. When she can start a movement. You want women to stop wearing these weaves and you're saying, you know, this, then you do it. You do it.
I mean, it's disingenuous for her to sit there and say that when she's got somebody else's eyelashes glued onto her eyelids and her hair looks like it's natural and maybe
now it is. But when she gets her braids, that's not all her hair.
Come on, I mean, so
yeah, she finds anything to struggle about and to commiserate. And
they gotta keep us in the struggle. Yes. They have to keep the struggle popular.
That's that Eeyore.
Yep. As Tyrone said last night, poverty and all of it is a business. The struggle is a business.
Absolutely.
It's a grift. This idea of emotionalizing everything is a business, and people are paying for it. They really are. But we're going to call them out. We're going to continue to call them out. And speaking of this whole grift, I mean, one organization that is the biggest grift of them all is the NAACP. And they are just disgraceful. Take a look at this next clip where they have decided to make an endorsement in the Virginia gubernatorial race. And they are the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Well, they did not endorse a woman of color. I wonder why. This is clip 9.
So y'all know that old school saying, Black people got to stick together? That one? Yeah, it turns out that right there does not count if you're talking about a Black woman who just so happens to think for herself. Yeah, take a look at this here. In the beautiful state of Virginia, a Black woman is not even able to get the support of, get this, the NAACP. Would y'all take a look at that right there? The National Association of Advancement for Colored People would rather stand behind a white liberal woman than a quote unquote fellow Black sister. That's right, folks. There is nothing a liberal hates more than somebody who can think for themselves, especially if they happen to come in Black skin. Yeah. These are their true colors. I mean, well, technically it does make sense because the NAACP is majority funded by people who look like her, basically.
All right. So first of all, I got to give a plug to Tanash Peters. He is one of my newest watchers. I watch him all the time. Every day I watch him. He has a great channel. Check him out here on YouTube. But Shirley, what's going on?
There's nothing new under the sun here. Okay, this has been going on for decades. Okay, I'll just go as far back as Condi Rice and more recently Mia Love. These people, Black women, because they were conservative or Republicans, they were rided or derided, I should say. The NAACP didn't support them. We've all experienced it just in our everyday lives. We are Auntie Toms or Uncle Tom. We're coons and all kinds of stuff because we are Black women and we're not Democrat on the Democrat
white
Party.
supremacists.
We're white supremacists, all kinds of things like that. So this is nothing new. It doesn't surprise me. And I can't remember the original acronym I came up with for the NAACP. So I wrote I got to find it, but it was something along these lines: the National Association for the Asininity and the Abomination of Colored People, something like that. That's what it is. That's what I've been calling it for years. I'm going to find that original one I came up with, but they don't give a damn. They care. Again, there's a hierarchy. What they care about is the party politics that will keep them in power. And a conservative Black woman, no less, who thinks for herself is not going to bring the NAACP any new members.
Well, Nicole, I mean, Michelle Obama has to give her some type of nod because Winsome is wearing her real hair. She's wearing her real hair and it's natural.
They should give Winsome a nod because she's a history-making, barrier-breaking Black woman. Right. See, here's the problem with the NAACP. It is not a standalone organization. It quite literally is an arm of the DNC. They have always been that way. I think they were probably good between 1908 and 1910. But after that, they just kind of became so intertwined with them that they choose partisanship over principle and politics over progress. So when you talk about advancing Black culture, how do you look this woman in the face? Winsome Sears, who is the first Black woman to serve as lieutenant governor, or woman of any kind to serve as lieutenant governor in the state of or Commonwealth of Virginia. Winsome is absolutely, when I tell you this woman is a barrier breaker, this woman is everything she purports to be. And as a Black person, I would have preferred for them not to get involved, for them not to issue. If they could not rock with the Black woman, like, their name implies that they would rock with the Black woman. Because I remember Auntie Roro wearing a t-shirt that said, vote like a Black woman, vote for the Black girl. Didn't Barack come out and berate Black men all over the nation? You got to vote for this Black woman. You're misogynistic and blah, blah, blah. And now he's so far up Abigail Spanberger's butt, he's hanging out like a damn tampon.
Like a hemorrhoid.
This guy is absolutely partisan.
Like a dildo.
But if people are looking for the NAACP to be anything other than Democrat propaganda, I'm telling you, you're looking in the wrong space, people. These people are absolutely the worst. And then they had the nerve to come out. The Virginia side had a nerve to come out and say, oh, well, we didn't really mean it. And you meant it. You meant it and you thought you could get away with it, like you got away with it with Condi Rice, like you got away with Mia Love, but not this time. You didn't get away.
They hate us. They hate us with a passion. I think they hate us more than they hate a KKK member, because we represent we represent independence, and they can't emotionalize us. They can't run the grift on us. We're the ones who, I think one of you guys were saying how the card trick where you're doing the card trick, right? With the coconut we're the ones who say it's right there in your hand. We call out the trick, card tricks, and they hate that because we're walking contradictions, and they despise it, and it drives them crazy, folks. But we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep calling them out. We're going to keep pushing the truth, because what they are communist plants. The whole organization, that's what they were bred to do. Exactly. Okay. And so they're bred to lie, manipulate, and use the community. But I'm not letting the Black community off the hook, because we have allowed them to do it. And so I hope more and more people are waking up to their lies and are able to call out, oh, I see it. It's in your hand. That trick. We're pulling your card. We see what you're doing. And we're calling you out. Because not only is Winsome Sears, a Black woman, not only is she competent, but she's also a woman of faith. I mean, She started the first prison ministry, I believe.
Yeah, it still does it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's done so many things.
She's a veteran. She's a
She's a
Marine.
veteran,
Yeah,
right? A
served
Marine.
their country proudly.
I mean,
you know, one of the things that I thought was probably the worst part of this whole thing is that they try to do it in a sneaky way. Do you know what I mean? They tried to just like, okay, well, it's in the voter guide and walk away from it. They had no expectation for people to call them out on it. We called them out on Sunday night and was like, what is this? You should have stayed out of it if you couldn't rock with the Black woman, Black organization. Sit down and be quiet. But again, they're showing us who they are. What you see with their little chapters are saying, oh, well, we're not like that. That's national. No, you're all like that. You're fruit of the same poisonous tree. The whole organization should be renamed because they're not advancing colored people. They took a look at this outstanding candidate by everybody's definition of what a candidate should be and said, no, I'm going to pick the blonde-haired Becky, who was a former CIA agent. Now let's talk about what the CIA has been known to do to the Black community. And here is the NAACP riding with her.
Oh, but they're doing it. CIA is still working because what they're doing is, again, they have infiltrated the NAACP, COINTELPRO. This is the modern day of that. They have infiltrated it. And so they have their guy, they have their gal. They want you to pick another plant, which is this Spanberger. This is what they want to do. And so unless you are a DEI Black, they don't want to have anything to do with you.
Because if you're not, they don't have a victim card to play for you, a struggle card. They can't do anything off of that. But if that's what they want you, so that way they can benefit from your election, your position, because woe is me, and you're the little Black nappy-headed girl, like Michelle might say.
And Corinne Jean-Pierre.
Exactly.
You all are standing behind this whole Black queer woman that she has to announce at every room she comes in, like she's, getting married, you're announcing yourself as you enter the room. I'm Black, I'm queer, I'm dumb, I'm doofus. This is Corinne Jean-Pierre. So these are the Black women you're supporting. Someone who is incompetent, she's an outright liar, and probably one of the worst, if not the worst, White House press secretary in the history of the United States. This is who you get behind, but someone who's competent and accomplished like Winsome Sears, you want no parts of it.
Right. She's got that R behind her name. So it automatically makes her not eligible for their endorsement. But here's the great thing about it. The NAACP really hasn't been relevant in the Black community in at least 20 years. But you know where they are relevant? White guilt.
And LGBT. They've become really big in LGBT areas.
They prey on the guilt of white liberals who feel like they owe Black America something. These people have never, ever held a slave. They don't do anything to harm Black folk. They're not doing anything to harm our communities. But organizations like this make them believe that they owe something. You don't owe Black America a damn thing.
You heard what Kathy said. She said, we were fine until white liberals started helping us.
Malcolm X told us that, decades ago, God rest his soul, beware of the white liberal. I like to modernize it to say, just beware of the leftist or the progressive, whatever shade they are. I don't care what skin color they are. Beware of them because they are dangerous, destructive. They're deadly. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, literally, we've seen it.
Who wrote that book? I think that was one of our book club books. Back when we had
White Guilt.
No. Please stop helping us.
Oh, Jason Riley.
Jason Riley. What a great book. Please stop helping us. Please.
I love it.
Please,
Jason Riley.
Well, folks, we have at the end of our time tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this broadcast, please share this on your social media, send it in a text message, share it in a DM, and subscribe. We are trying to grow this community. Our goal is to hit 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We need your help. I see we have some super chats. We want to thank you all so much. This is the last broadcast for October. Next time you see us
Friday.
Wasn't Friday the
31st.
Oh, Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay,
KJ want this month over. You hear me?
No,
Done.
I don't know
Said
why.
enough.
All right, well, definitely. But still, we could use the help at the end of the month. It really helps us every.
It's the end of the month. We gotta pay. We gotta get our SNAP benefits.
Yeah. No, that's not me. No. But listen, we have a super star. Simply Asha B. Thank you. Says Western culture is under threat as we speak.
Absolutely.
All right. Chadwick with the $5 super chat says natural and 2A. Damn, Shelly's gorgeous.
She is.
Thank you, Chadwick.
Wow.
She absolutely is.
Yes, she is. And folks, Shelly is such a darling. She's such a sweetheart. You know, she comes off on the show as this brash, but she's really a sweet woman.
Look at the face. Look.
Let me tell y'all, when KJ says stuff like that's because she probably did something.
Yep. You see me looking like,
she probably did something. She just ain't telling y'all the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say.
Anyway, we have another super chat here. You can't even give this woman a compliment. She's a shrew. She's a terrible shrew.
So here we go, right? And this is me being the middle sister.
Oh, y'all
had discrimination by y'all. NAACP did nothing. Wow. Of course they did nothing. Yep. All right. Who else do we have here?
NAACP is a cover-up organization.
Yeah.
For you know who.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yep. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We got one more.
We got one more.
Scrapping Beauty. Did we do that?
Yeah, Scrapping Beauty. So the $10 super chat says Kathy Barnett should be a pop in.
Absolutely.
I love you, ladies.
We love you back.
We should get her on. Yeah, once a month at least.
Oh, there's Josh.
All right, Josh. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
All right, what's he saying? Everyone, send this episode to a friend. See you on Halloween night. Yeah, we'll be back.
Josh.
And Shelly is a beauty inside and out.
Absolutely.
I take it from you, Josh.
She is. I was just joking.
Wait a minute. I have a.
She's not a shrew.
Not an announcement. I have a. I don't know what you want to call it. An assignment.
Homework.
Yes.
As Giovanni would say.
Before you all leave tonight, you all need to hit that like button because we are below the numbers that we have on as far as in the chat. Hit the like button, everybody. You got to do it. Did we talk about the merchandise?
We did not.
Go ahead.
Look, it's the fall, perfect time for hoodies. I love hoodies. I think KJ probably knows how much I love them. And if I could wear them every day, I would. Hoodies, t-shirts, caps. Please go to our YouTube site and purchase until your heart's content. And
that's our favorite right now.
Unapologetically American. And look, the holidays are coming. I know you might not have SNAP benefits, but you might get some cash on that card. Go and purchase some Christmas gifts. Get them early. Get them now so that we can just, you can have them. And don't forget, whenever you wear our merchandise, take a picture and send it in.
Absolutely.
We will shout you out on the show.
There are 57 days, folks. 7 days to Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to tell you, make it light on yourself. You don't have to be out here fighting with the shoplifters at Walmart, trying to get you a TV while they're stealing pork chops. You don't have to do that. Go right to the website, and what you do for every man in your life, you go ahead and get them that unapologetically American t-shirt. For yourself, get yourself something nice. Get you a couple mugs, get you a hoodie or two. Maybe for your teenagers, get the stickers for their laptops, because I have a couple on mine. You can do all of your Christmas shopping and support the show in a way that's very meaningful.
Right.
So please take full advantage of that.
Right. Absolutely. And I'll just leave it like this. Christmas won't be the same this year without your poppin' politics tea. All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. My heart stop. Take my pulse, Nicole.